right, welcome to Good News Friday. Mike Simon is here. I'm Joey Arbor. Welcome in, everybody. And everybody, I think nowadays, when you're a church, a faith-based organization, you have a food pantry. And sure enough, Mike, as we talk with various and sundry folks throughout the week, I think it's safe to say that if we're talking with the church, we're also talking with a food pantry. The church has a food pantry. It may be just that it is there for the congregation that they currently serve and represent. But many of these church pantries are providing a tremendous amount of community support when it comes to food insecurity. And people find out about the distributions and the outreach that's going on. And here's one thing that we're finding really quickly. Churches by nature, Mike, are our strongest collaborators. Being able to work together in a community, it's such an effective solution for churches that are utilizing Charity Tracker. But here's the great thing with these churches, and I think they're finding this out more and more and more as we talk with them, is the ability to also utilize some of the features in Charity Tracker, like our barcode scanning, our client ID card capability. Wow, now you're taking this church that's doing distribution, that's already working in collaboration with other churches, but you're able to expedite your processes when it comes to the outreach that's going on from the food distribution. This is game changing because a lot of the pantries are still keeping track in paper. They're still using spreadsheets and this kind of thing. This is antiquated and it's not effective. What if you were able, from the front end, the secretary, the benevolence person there in the church, to give assistance and keep track of that in Charity Tracker, but bringing in your pantry there that's in the back many times or the side of the church and keeping track there as well of the assistance that's being provided. Now, Mike, we're a comprehensive solution for a church that is working on a lot of different areas in life, right? But this is very exciting for us because we know food insecurity continues to be a huge challenge. Many times churches within the community are providing the benefits and being able to help.
Well, you know that churches are the organizations that provide the largest caring power in the community. Now, when we started Sean Tracker, or Charity Tracker as it's called now, when Sean Tracker first started in Alabama, I remember the United Way director was looking to find a way to bring the community together. Somehow, some way, they had to bring the community together and reduce the duplication. And so they can make better informed decisions how to allocate these resources in a more effective way. And so when they started the network in our hometown, they grew the network to approximately 80 organizations within 2 years.
Wow.
And 85% of them were churches.
Yeah.
It goes to show you that churches are the ones that get real involved in food insecurity.
Yeah.
They're working with all kinds of people who are just walking in off the street or even a part of their own congregation, but they found that food insecurity is something that churches can well manage in their own right. And they don't want to get they want to make sure that people aren't coming into the church and getting some services down at their church and then going down the road and getting in another church. They really would like to know about the people that they're serving in the community, and they want to reduce that exponentially. And so we're the solution for churches and food pantries because we keep track of those people. And it's not a gotcha thing. It's not a police thing.
Yeah.
It's a way to manage your resources in a godly fashion.
Yeah.
And prove to your congregation that you're managing your resources well. And that's why Charity Tracker is the best solution for churches.
We shine, Mike. It is safe to say when it comes to our church partners, and we hear the testimonials time after time after time. You guys are really helping us here because now we can see if someone has been to another church, another agency here in our community. We know we still have the discretion of providing assistance if we want to, but we also know from a good stewardship perspective as to this person has been assisted before. This story is not true. Those kinds of testimonials we hear all the time. But Mike, it's the thing that we hear from churches so many times, because let's face it, there's always a disaster happening somewhere, many of them tornadoes, fires, you got all kinds of flooding that's going on many times throughout the country. Churches in the community providing relief many times are the first ones there. You got a group in the congregation, they rally, they get behind, the volunteer effort there within the community. They're the first ones on the scene many times to provide the help that is necessary. These are people that are very conscientious. They love their community, they love their church, and they're all focused in on where is help needed the most right now. Well, Charity Tracker can help from a volunteer perspective to rally all those volunteers to get them to a place where there really is an emergency crisis need. So when you think about all the various things that are constantly going on in the community, and churches want to be connected, Charity Tracker with the bulletins feature, with being able to see where the big emergency is really helping churches as they want to focus in on the relief effort that's going on. After the tornadoes touched down here in the Shoals back earlier, 2010, one of the biggest assistances that came wasn't from the government. It wasn't from the social service agencies. It was from the churches. They were going into communities, and long after the camera crews had left, long after the news stories were over, the churches were still there helping people, getting them the next steps and getting them help. Many of it was involving cleanup. The tornadoes came through, ravaged these homes, ravaged properties, and the churches were still there. They're volunteers within their congregation helping to clean up the aftermath. So being able to understand as to where the emergencies are within a community, but then being able to keep focused from the perspective of the churches, this really is where Charity Tracker shines, and it's really awesome hearing some of the churches now that are finding from their food insecurity efforts that they're able to bring in barcode scanning. They're able to scan a code, move someone through, all the while keeping track of all that data. Client ID cards. Now you've got the capability of doing picture IDs. You know exactly who's in front of you. So being able to keep track from a good stewardship perspective, Mike, it's so important to equip everyone, and what we're finding is that Charity Tracker really can help with that. So,
I remember when the tornadoes hit Alabama,
yeah.
And we were seeing bulletins come across the what we called, it was Sean Tracker back then.
Yes, sir.
We were seeing the bulletins come across Sean Tracker from the church people who were at ground zero within minutes.
Yes.
And they were telling us through the bulletins what they needed.
Yeah.
That was great. So if you're a church out there, you need to consider Charity Tracker, because it'll help you to better manage your benevolence program.
Yeah.
And if you'll network with other churches in your community, you'll create a greater impact to combat food insecurity in your community if you're willing to work together.
It's so true, Mike. And we just invite any church that's looking at bringing this in. We'll provide you with the next steps. We were very excited last week talking about the Church Focus Network there in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. This can happen in your community. We would love the opportunity to speak with you about what those next steps are. Mike has a book that is coming out really soon. We can point you in the right direction as to how to transform your community. And many times, Mike, it starts with one agency, but let's face it, if you see the value of Charity Tracker in your community, I guarantee you there are others that will as well. and we'll help you in getting and convening these community conversations. It's so exciting. We had a community conversation with some folks up in Ames, Iowa. Lori Allen from Good Neighbors, bless her. She's bringing in Salvation Army. She's bringing in other agencies there to work together. This is how it all starts, just hearing as to the potential. Lori's been using Charity Tracker for a couple of years, but she saw the success that she was having there, just being able to track information within her own agency, knowing full well that these other agencies could be doing the same thing and sharing their information. Now we've got energy that we're creating with this data-driven collaboration goal. It works, folks. It really does. It works. Give us a chance. I think we can make our case there for utilizing Charity Tracker and serving you and serving your agency and serving your community. This is where our hearts are. Hey, for Mike Simon, I'm Joey Arbor. Take care, everybody. On behalf of all of us here at Simon Solutions, thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your day.